Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV and Radio, where wisdom meets experience. Join a dynamic lineup of thought leaders, professionals, and changemakers from around the world. Dr. Madeline Chan from the UK, Mariska Dupreya from Australia, Red O'Loughlin from Texas, USA, Carolyn Heward from the UK, Zunette Lub from Cape Town, South Africa, as they share expert insights, personal journeys, and impactful strategies for success. Talking Heads isn't just a show, it's a global stage for education, collaboration, and inspiration. So elevate your knowledge, expand your perspective, engage in conversations that matter. Streaming globally, empowering locally, this is Talking Heads, only on USA Global TV and Radio.
Howdy, y'all. Red O'Loughlin here. We're on Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Last week, I did a presentation on how to write your book in 7 days. It's not difficult to find it very easily on the archives. And it got me to thinking, why not do a follow-up? How do you publish your book in 7 days? That doesn't mean that from this 7 days to the end of that 7 days, 14 days, you can have a book and have it published. Because between writing the book and publishing the book, there's a lot of other things that are going on, editing being one of many, many. So let me go ahead and get my slides loaded up and we'll get started today. Okay, there we go. Our shows are live streaming. This is not podcast. We are live TV. Any errors I make are going to be there forever. Try not to make too many of them, but you never know what happens anyway. We're live streaming on Amazon Fire, Zizzle TV, E360 TV, YouTube, a couple of channels there, Android TV, Apple TV, social media. I have 2 Facebook channels that I do simulcast on, and there's others, quite a number of platforms out there. There's also the podcast options, audios that occur after the fact, and there's a half a dozen or so of those. So a lot of channels out there to find this information on. And primarily we're here for awareness and education. We're sharing what our wisdom is with everyone else. Almost anything you want to find about me can be found on my website, redolaughlin.com. That's red like the color, red hair, red, R-E-D, O'Loughlin, O-L-A-U-G-H-L-I-N, redolaughlin.com. My 2 preferred methods of contact are email and telephone. Just call me on the phone. So all that information is found on my website. My books are found there. They're also found on probably 12 different publishing platforms. One of the easiest, obviously, is KDP, Amazon, but I'm found on just about all of them. The archives and the live shows are on YouTube. Go there, type in USA Global TV, and you'll find the ability to watch the show live. You'll see which ones are coming up. Or if you want to go back and catch my show from last week, go to the archives and it's easily there. I also have a number of shows archived on my redolaughlin.com channel. So let's proceed into how to publish a book. Whoops, no, it's not quite there yet, just about. I'm a researcher. I have never been in the medical or pharmaceutical fields, but I fell in love with chemistry sophomore year in high school. I got my first degree in it. I got a bunch of other degrees after that, not in chemistry, but in a variety of other subjects. Similarly, depending on what I was doing in my civilian life, I ended up with a bunch of professional certifications. I was in the Navy for over 30 years, flew for over 16 years. I've been to over 60 countries in the world. My primary focus in my last company, Halliburton, that I worked at, was cause and effect relationships. Why did something fail? And I go down that level, next level, 7 levels down in many cases. Why did it fail? Okay, what can we do to prevent that failure? And so you look at failure effects analysis, you look at what caused things to happen. And then so I took that same mindset and started looking at that in the human body, trying to help my wife get through chemotherapy when she was going through breast cancer. So I look at treating the cause, not the symptoms, because you actually can make a difference. If you're just treating symptoms, just putting a Band-Aid on something, the problem is still going on. You haven't addressed it. We've been married 57 years, couple kids, 3 grandkids, 1 great grandson, 1.5 years old now, who we'll be seeing this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. Best-selling author, got 6 books, independent publisher, distinguished Toastmaster. I have over 1,000 original content articles published on LinkedIn, about 1,500 on my website. Again, the information I'm presenting today is educational only. If you have a problem, go talk to your doctor, talk to a pharmacist. Just don't take a particular thing that I'm talking about when it's with health and wellness and just go do something. Now, can you do something with publishing or writing by yourself? Probably. What's the worst you can do? You end up spending a little bit extra money or time trying to fix something. So, international TV host. Last year, 2024, I was the number 2 and number 6 presenter. This year, for the first 6 months, I hit the number 1 ranks. I wrote a book a while back. In fact, this one actually did write in less than 7 days, The Essential New Author's Guide. And I call it my How Do You Write and Publish a Book for Free. And everything in there tells you, you can do this. This is the way you do it for free. And that was my whole focus, was how can I get my book written? How can I get it edited? How can I get my cover art done? How can I get everything done for free and do it myself? So what got me into the publishing end of things? I wrote a book about 12, 15 years ago, and I can't even tell you the name of the company that published it. It went out of business, and I started thinking to myself, I don't want that happening. So I started looking at, maybe there's a way I could do this myself. It can't be that difficult. I've written almost all my life. I've been all over the place with writing. So whatever it is, it can't be that difficult. I started looking at some YouTube tutorials, and okay, fine, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah, it's not too, maybe I need to ask a couple of questions, but everything seemed to be not too bad. I'm at a Toastmasters meeting, and I'm speaking, and I talk about speakers who come up who are introduced as authors in the topic that they're in. I said, that gives you extra credibility because now you're a published author in a field that you're speaking about. Well, about 10 months, a year later, I get a call on the phone, and this guy says, hey, I wrote my book, and I can't get it published. I said, well, it's not something I do for other people, but send it to me. I'll see what I can do. And sure enough, a couple of weeks later, he had his book. And he gave me a reference. That person gave me a reference, a referral. I got about 5 different referrals from people. I said, the cost of selling 100 books for an author takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and most authors never get rich selling books. But from publishing a book, I was seeing some real return on my time. So to publish your book, you can do it for free. But if you're going to pay somebody to do it, it could cost you thousands of dollars. It really can. A lot of companies out there provide the services, and they provide all sorts of things. Just be real careful signing a contract with somebody so you know exactly what's going on. You get somebody to look at it. If you don't like something in there, voice an opinion. Contracts are made to be changed. So make sure you have your understanding exactly what you're getting and what's going to happen. But we're talking about how we can do it ourselves here in 7 days. Again, myth, you're not getting rich selling books. Another thing that people don't realize, writers, is that when you're starting to write page 1, you should be marketing your book right then and there, not when it's done. And that's a typical mistake that most of us new authors make, is the fact that I got my book done, it's here. Now let me start marketing it. We wasted months or even years, depending on what it is, of letting people know that our book is out there and coming. Last month, I published a book for a guy and a client in Dubai. Other than the time zone differences, that was I think we worked for about 3 weeks on that one and got it done. I think the cover was the only issue that we had on that one. This month I published a book for a client here in the United States. Really bad problems with Wi-Fi. She paid somebody a lot of money to edit her book, but there are a lot of errors in it. I don't edit books. That's one thing I do not do. You give me a finished, edited, proofread book, I will take and publish that for you pretty cheaply. But in this particular case, she bought a bunch of books, a lot of errors in it. Yeah, that's part of publishing. You got to make sure what you have is good. Otherwise, it's going to destroy your credibility because somebody picks it up and says, "Why didn't they see this error?" So don't assume that just because the book is edited and proofread that it's published ready. A lot of errors occurred with her, and I'm working with her now to get those fixed. She's going through a lot of time and trouble to find what they are. But anyway, you can write a book in a few days, but the editing and proofing can take a long time. And there's a lot of options we talked about last week on writing a book with regard to editing and proofing and using artificial intelligence and a few other things. But you can write a book quickly, you can publish a book quickly, but that in between time can take a long time, a lot more than a week, to get a really good professional book. Okay, so you think you're ready to publish your first book? Let me ask you a couple of questions. Who's your audience? How are you going to reach them? If you have a book that you want to put out there, how are you going to reach them? Let's say you're writing a book on cake decorating. Yeah, who's your audience? Well, it could be bakers, stay-at-home bakers. It could be a number of people from housewives to cooks, chefs, to just a general audience. How do you reach them? What are they looking at? Are they going to? You have to really understand, because you're going to write a book, you're going to publish the book, but you probably never actually get more than 100 copies out to the world. So you got to make a lot of these decisions up front. What size do they prefer? I learned a lesson on that here recently with my son. I would send him a Christmas present of a half a dozen books that I really liked. And he said, "Hey, Dad, next time, just send me the ebook." I like having a book in my hand. Other people don't. You get your paperback, your audiobooks, your ebooks. Lots of options there. What does your audience prefer? And try to make sure they have that. The cover art, what's on the front and the back. Just because you like a cover as an author doesn't mean that everybody else is going to like it. I typically will take 5 cover designs. I pay, I think, about $7, $8 for each one at Fiverr.com. And I'll put them on Facebook. I would say A or B, B or C, C or D. And I'll get feedback. I learned right away a long time ago that I love that cover, but nobody else did. And a cover I couldn't stand, it's okay. Everybody loved it. So make sure you're selling to your readers, not to what your ego says. The cover and the content can be previewed before publishing, and they're there to pull out problems. But just because a book passes the previewer doesn't mean that it's going to pass everything else. The book I did here recently, this past month, early August, it passed the previewer, but then all of a sudden the cover didn't pass the actual publishing criteria when it got to that part of the platform. So everything was done, boom. Now we had to go back in and have the cover art readjusted again. In fact, I'll tell you right now that cover art is probably the number one biggest delay in publishing that I've seen in the 50 books that I've published. It just, for whatever reason, has a life of its own. So let's discuss some paperback and ebook options. I think the easiest is KDP Amazon. It's the gorilla in the room. It's the one that has the most print on demand. You don't end up with a trunk of 200 books that you have to haul around everywhere. Somebody wants a book, they go there, they order it, boom, you get paid. So print on demand, a lot of multiple prices there. And I'm going to go into this with regard to the prices and the royalties and the options, but there's a lot of options that you can do, and you can change the price anytime you want. If you publish with Amazon, they're going to give you a free ISBN. That's an international book number. And the company that handles that in the United States is Bowker. Different companies handle it in different other locations around the world. But you go to myidentifiers.com, and for one ISBN, it's $125. Or for $300, you can get 10 of them. ISBNs are required for paperback for publishing, but they're not required for ebooks. But if you have an ebook on Barnes and Noble and an ebook on Amazon, KDP, Kindle, you're probably wise to put an ISBN on each one. If you have a paperback on Barnes and Noble and one on KDP Amazon, you are required to have different ISBN numbers. So just because you get one freebie with this particular publishing platform doesn't mean that the other ones are going to give you freebies. They generally don't. Copyright, just because you put the little C with the circle around it on your book, okay, copyright. Red O'Laughlin 2025. Okay, yeah, I have some level of copyright legal protection of my intellectual property. But I can also get that legal protection enhanced a little bit if I register my book copyright with the government. And so there's a process to go about doing that. And it costs a little bit, a few bucks, not much, less than $50. But I can get additional copyright. Is it something you need to do to publish your book in 7 days? No. Can you get it done anytime that you want? Generally speaking, you get the book done, you can always have that copyright updated, change your content a little bit, and it's a done deal. But if I want to understand the what, the why, the wherefore, and everything else, I'm going to mention YouTube in here quite a few times because I find that probably be the best teacher that I've come across in a long time. It's a great source for understanding just about any aspect of writing and publishing. So I go there. I may look at 3 different sites on copyrights. Okay, I understand what's there. Do I want that? Yes or no? You make a decision. If it's no, maybe it's no for right now. Maybe later on, if I start selling a lot of books, maybe I want to get an official registration of my copyright. Something you make a decision on down the road. Check similar books. If you check your competitors, are they all getting official registered copyrights? Maybe they are, maybe they are not. But whatever they're doing, that kind of gives you a clue. Library of Congress control number, not mandatory, but if you want your books to go to in libraries, pretty much is. So there's a certain area for those kinds of books. Again, YouTube will tell you more information you want to know about what is it, how do you go about getting one. Basically, it's free, but you need an ISBN in order to get one. And you also need to ship your book to the Library of Congress. It's a couple bucks for that one. Cover art. Probably one of the most difficult parts of the book because you have to have the book written because the number of pages determines how wide the spine is going to be. So if you have 400 pages or you have 200 pages, that spine is going to be a certain width. Well, if you have less than 104 pages, you probably have a spine, but you don't have a spine that you can actually write on and have the book sitting up there on the shelf and you can read it. So there's a certain minimum size of a book that you can't read anything on the spine. So the page numbers determine how big that is. That's part of what you're going to be doing when you're formatting your book is how big is that? Now, I'll be getting into this in just a very brief second, that size of that book, 400 pages versus 200 pages, is going to be a determiner for how wide the margin is in the middle of the book. I open the book. Is all the print going right down into the curve, or is it far enough out that I can read everything? Book title, subtitle, series, a lot of things can go on the front of the book. But again, if it gets too busy, people are just not going to read it. If it's a really neat title, but it doesn't tell you what's there, the subtitle will clear that up. So there's both are there. And how do people find your book? If they don't know who you are, they don't even know you wrote a book. They're doing a Google search, and all of a sudden, some of the keywords that you used are being used to pull them into Amazon to show them your book. Now they can read your description and other things that are part of that process. Ebook cover is a JPEG. The paperback cover is a PDF, and it has to cover the entire aspect of the book, the front cover, the back cover, and the spine. And it also has to have a little a little bleed area outside so that the print, as it's being actually printed, fits everything in there nicely. And if you go to a hardcover book, again, a little bit different book cover on that one, depending on whether you want that printed on the hardcover, or whether you want a dust cover to go around it. Lots of options. We're not talking about that today. And I think if you use Amazon to do your hardcover book, you need about 80 pages in the book to be a hardcover printable book. A lot of things there. Depending on how you publish your book, you can in fact go into your KDP Amazon account and publish your book as a .docx, in other words, your Word document. But you really, to get a better version, I lock it in as a PDF. Nothing changes once that PDF is there. And so I tend, for my clients, I take and convert the entire book to one PDF file. I do the same thing for EPUB, but I get rid of a lot of white space that's in the paperback. I eliminate as much white space as I possibly can, and then I convert it to an EPUB. If you need to do that, as opposed to just publishing the book as a .docx, there are a lot of free converters out there. If you're publishing your book, you need permissions for certain things, depending on what the nature of that book is, the image, the photograph. A lot of them are free. There's royalty-free options. I use Pixabay a lot for almost everything that I do. I had one blog many years ago where some law firm contacted me and says I violated somebody's privacy right. It turns out that I got the thing from Pixabay, and they had labeled it as royalty-free. I changed it because the law firm said we'd appreciate it if you change it or whatever. I did, but then I wrote them back and said this is where I got the image from, and on that company they say it's royalty-free, so I'll let you handle that. When you're setting your book up, there's a DRM, a digital rights management. Not mandatory, but it's one of those things. It's there additional protection against your intellectual property. This is probably the most difficult thing when you're publishing a book. Everything else I mentioned is periphery, but you actually have to take the manuscript that you have, the paper that book is printed on, and convert it to the size of the book. I take a book that's 8.5 by 11, and if I fold that in half, that's about a 6 by 9. So if I have 100 pages of typewritten manuscript, that's about 200 pages, rough order of magnitude for a 6 by 9 book. But I need to type that in the margins vary depending on the number of pages you have. Who is your audience? Again, what font type and size are their expectations? I write on health and wellness. A lot of my customers, my clients, my readers are baby boomers. I have an extra large font size, so they easily can read it. I've probably heard that too many times. I love your font size because I can read it without putting my glasses on. But you also need to look at the line spacing, the paragraph spacing, the indents, the margins we already talked about. The chapters, typically they're going to be on the right-hand side. You're going to start a third of the way down. Do they have to? No. If I got 400 pages, I'm probably not going to have a bunch of white pages on the left just so I can start the chapter on the right in order to, I'll just start the chapter on the left-hand side. No big deal. But you should try your best to keep the right-hand side as your odd number of pages. So right side is going to be page 1, 2, 3, 4, or Roman numeral, etc. But as I'm starting to look at these things, typically your cover page, your title page, and the page after it don't have any Roman numerals on it. They don't have the headers and the footers. Then the front matter of the book, everything including your table of contents, is probably going to be a Roman numeral, and you probably have headers for that. And then all of a sudden now you're into Arabic numbers because now your book's starting. So you have a choice of none, Arabic, or Roman numerals. They're not difficult to do, but most people have never ever done them. Go to YouTube, find out. I have to do that myself. If there's been a little bit of time in between publishing, I'll go back there okay, that's exactly what I need to remember. I don't keep all the stuff in my head because I know where to find it. Another thing that I do a lot, it's not on this slide, is called style sheets. I want my table of contents so that if I come back later on and add a paragraph or take something out, my table of contents is automatically generated, both for my paperback, it's going to tell me what page it's on, and that will automatically update. And if it's a ebook, it'll automatically generate the clickable link so somebody can go straight to that page. But style sheets, if you've never used them before, it's probably one of the smartest things you can do is put your chapter titles and subtitles. If you want, you can go down more than one level. And so that will automatically appear as a table of contents and automatically update every time you make a change. But you got to go in there physically and make the update. You can't, it'll do all the changes for you, but you got to tell it, okay, I made some changes, make your changes. Photos, images, tables, etc. 300 DPI dots per something. Well, brain fart. 300 dots per inch, I think, is what it is a minimum. If you have something less than that, the publisher is going to come back and say, I really can't do that. But if you're the publisher and you get to Barnes & Noble or something, the thing is just not going to look good. Your credibility is going to suffer. So get yourself a decent image. Ebooks require pixel dimensions, not a DPI. So they want 1,000 pixels on the vertical dimension or whatever it may have to be. Make sure you understand so that if you're buying from, say, Fiverr.com and the guy's doing a lot of books, they're going to automatically know that. But if your best friend is doing it, like last week's book, a best friend was doing it, it didn't pass the test because once it came through to publish, I get a phone call or text saying, I did this, what do I have to do? So understand that when you have a book, try to use professionals as you can. If you want to do it for free and somebody's going to do it for you, that's one now. You can use Amazon's free generator. They'll give you a free cover. That's what I talk about in my book that I wrote. Resizing, compressing photos. If you have a book and it has just all sorts of 5 megabyte photos, it's not going to take long, but you can't upload that file as an ebook because it takes too long. Or you're going to pay extra money for having the color in your book. And that color, is it really necessary? I think in some cases, absolutely, no doubt in my mind. It depends on what your customers, what are the expectations of your reader. Now, there are a lot of free options for resizing photographs, compressing photographs, changing a 5 megabyte photograph file down to 67 kilobytes and not losing anything. If you're publishing color photographs and you go and select black and white, generally speaking, you don't have to change much. The printer, the publisher is automatically going to make that conversion. But there are things you can do to make the pictures look better. And I think I talked about it here. Okay. Photo manipulations work better. I take, and depending on how that looks to me, when I convert it to a black and white, I look at it and I say, that too much stuff blends together. I can take the color and manipulate it very high saturation or contrast or hue or something or change, and it looks really weird as a color. But when I convert it to a black and white, it looks pretty sharp. So there's a lot of things you can do with photos, just as you're changing the size of the concentration of the photograph. Understand what you can do, how to do it, when it makes sense to do. If you go with color images, and the book converts them to black and white, you're not paying anything extra. But if you want color in your book, you're paying extra for that color. I had one person do a cookbook, just maybe 20 photographs, absolutely had to have the color. Okay, I understand. I had another person do another book, and it didn't matter to her whether her photographs of her dishes actually were black and white or color. So depending on who your audience is, what you want. Know what genre you're in, the categories, the keywords, who are your competitors, because you can go there and see what they do. And okay, I didn't know that. Maybe that works. Same thing with the metadata. Go to YouTube, find out what is it, how does it help me, what can I do to improve. And again, YouTube is the best thing going. Now, when you have a price set, and we're talking about KDP Amazon, and I have my author account there and I've set it up. And again, go to YouTube, how to set up an author account in KDP Amazon, because you just go there, just follow the yellow brick road. I'm over here, I'm in YouTube, I'm over here on another one, and all I do is I freeze this one, go over here, make changes, freeze that one, and it makes it so much easier when you can follow the yellow brick road and make everything happen. But let's say you have a book and you have literally three different prices. You have the author price. Let's say the book is 150 pages, and you can buy the book for $3. That's a deep discount. It doesn't get any credit for sales, but you can't get a lot of copies quickly. For whatever reason, they put you at the end of the print queue. But that $3 book that you can buy as an author on your account may be $5 for Amazon to actually print it. You can't set your price on Amazon any less than $5. They won't let you do it. But you can buy it that way. But if I set the price at $5, I'm not making any royalty, but I get credit for sales. And if I order 10 books, I can probably get them in 3 days. So depending on how you want to set that up, but you have the choice of the minimum price. Then you also, okay, I want the book to be $20. Okay, set it at $20. But the difference in the royalties depends on where you set that price at. I have a minimum price for Amazon to print, distribute. I have another price over here that is going to be my price to my public. It's not the difference between the two. It's not the difference between 20 and 15 or $20. It's going to be a percentage of that difference. And so just because you think, okay, I know it's going to cost me $5 to print it, it's going to $20, but the only way you're going to make some money at all is get the books printed as cheaply as possible, put them in the trunk of your car, go to the event you're going to go at, and sell them at full price. Ebooks, depending on where you're at, $2.99 to $9.99, about 70% is going to be your royalty. But you can't, anything below $2.99 is 35%, anything above $9.99 is 35%. But you can also have your ebooks printed for 99 cents. You can get them printed for free. That's an option. And so depending on how you want to market your book, that might be a good way of getting a bunch of books for $2.99. You order 10 of them, that's $29. Send them out as gifts. Now you have verified purchasers of those books if they're going to leave reviews. What kind of author platforms do you have? Your website, your email list, your social media. I interview a lot of authors on my corner bookstore, and I go out and I try to find them, and they don't have a website. I can't find their email. I can't find them on social media. If you're an author and you expect to make some money and you're out there, there ought to be some way of finding you. Now, if your name is Paul Smith, there may be 15 other authors whose names are Paul Smith. How do I find out which author you are that has the same name? I had a Canadian author just recently, not an easy name, but not an uncommon name. And there's two authors in Canada, the exact same name. So be aware of what's there so that when you start marketing your book, people know how to reach you, how to contact you, how to sign you up for something, how to buy your books. Okay, it's getting time to launch your book. We're within 7 days. We want to be able to set up a book launch. The team, who's doing it for you? Again, we would like to have this as professional as possible. You can set up your own using a Facebook Live. You could set it up using StreamYard. You could set it up using Zoom. You could set it up. Lots of options in order to do a book launch. You have some beta readers out there. Pre-orders can be tricky because if you don't get your book published within a certain time frame, there are penalties that you don't even want to know about that can restrict your access to that platform. So maybe you want to have your book on Barnes & Noble, on Instagram, or Ingram Sparks, and a couple other places, just in case you get shut out on one platform. You're not totally shut out of being able to get your books published and sold. Is your reader engagement involved in bookstores and libraries? How do you get your book into bookstores? How do you get them into libraries? If it's a local high school library, your independent school district is going to have restrictions on how do you get what kinds of books into where. So understand where you have to go to get those permissions. If the bookstore has to go to Amazon to buy the book, chances are that's not going to happen. For whatever reason, there's a lot of bookstores just don't like doing business with Amazon. So there are probably, like Ingram Spark is a good place to go to get your books where they will end up as a paperback or a hardback cover into a bookstore. Let's say you have corrections. My policy for my company is I will give you 2 free content changes, no questions asked. You going to give me a list of, give me the fixes, boom. I'll also update 2 covers for you. But you are going to have, just as many times as people have looked at your book, there are going to be times that they just didn't catch things. Your brain remembered what it thought it wrote, and no matter what you're reading, and in some cases even hearing, it's not going to come out the same. So you are going to have corrections. There are going to be errors, updates, revisions. There's no reason you can't have a new cover. If the cover's not catching enough attention, maybe you need a different color, different size font. And if you go to Fiverr.com, generally speaking, I can get a decent paperback cover and a ebook cover that I'm pretty happy with for around $40. That's usually what I budget for a cover. That doesn't count the about $40 for free covers that I put on Amazon, put on Facebook in order to say A or B, B or C, C or D. So for less than $100, I've done my competitor analysis, my comparison shopping, and I have a good cover. There's a step-by-step process for doing all of those things. Again, YouTube is your friend. Go there, spend some time, understand what you're doing before you actually go do it. Then when you get ready to do it, put the video on and just keep hitting pause, go, and go do what it told you to do. Some thoughts to ponder. Writing's easy. Marketing is a bit harder. Editing is probably, I think, one of the most difficult things because it's just extremely difficult to read your stuff yourself. Now, somebody who's never read your book picks it up, they'll find stuff right away because their brain has not been engaged in writing and reading. You might read that book 4, 5, 6 times, and you're not going to catch everything. So you need to make sure that your writing is good because you want your credibility to shine. You want to be able to market your book at the same time. So I'm publishing my book. I need to make sure that I have a really good proofed, edited book. My media presence, my social media, a lot of skills are there. Finding you on, how do they find you on the internet? Type your name in and see what's there. What do you have to do in order to have a wider profile? If your book's 700 pages and it's only one topic, maybe you need 2 different books, maybe 3, I don't know. If your book has 100 chapters in it, I can tell you right now, I charge a lot more money for publishing when books have more than about 12 to 15 chapters because there's just a lot to do with every single chapter. AI, artificial intelligence. I've used it to help my clients with cover design. I also use it to do my final proofing. I usually try to keep everything about 7th grade level. But it will only do what you tell it to do. I tell the story periodically that when the first time I used AI to edit, I said, edit this. I gave 20 pages of a couple chapters, and it came back 2 paragraphs. And I was floored because I said edit. Just because I say edit doesn't mean that artificial intelligence understands the same meaning. So I asked artificial intelligence, this is what I want to do. Give me a prompt that will tell AI to do this and give me back what I'm looking for. So I want my syntax checks, my diction, my spelling, my punctuation. And then I'm getting back what I'm looking for. So there's a lot of things I can use AI for, not to write necessarily, although you can. It's just not one of those things that a lot of writers want to do. But make sure that if you're using it where it's really a tool that's helping you. I always, every time I'm working on somebody's document, I will keep every single time I save that document, I keep a different title on it. Usually at the end, I'll have the date, and I'll go A, B, C, D, telling you what time of the day I'm doing it. That way, you're never losing anything. If you need to go back and recover, you can. There's your cover art, the cover of your book. Can you shrink it down to a thumbnail and actually read it? That's a big deal. And if you have the right kind of fonts on your cover art, because you hired a professional to give you that cover, they're going to print out very, very nicely as a thumbnail. Again, YouTube can help you almost anywhere you need to go to publish. Other ones out there, I have my books on BookBaby, Drafted Digital, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, Ingram Spark, many of them. I think I get about 18 of them. I'm not sure, but contracts, again, you are the publisher. You don't have to worry about you. But if you do hire somebody and you have a contract, understand what's there. Ask a lot of questions. Call me on the phone and ask me a question. I've had that happen a couple, 3 times. Somebody says, I can't make this happen. Okay, tell me we sit down, look at it. Okay, do this. I never hear from them again. All of a sudden, 3 weeks later, I'm at a meeting. Oh, thank you so very much. I got my book published. I'd love to hear that. So that is the end of today, and I'm not sure if we're going to continue the same thing down the road or not, but we'll see. Take care. Bye now.
Meet Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer of USA Global TV and Radio. She is a certified life, career, and executive coach. Dr. Jacqueline is the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Behind the Green Screen and Adversity to Awesome. As the listening mentor, she teaches children and their families how to listen at an elevated level through the book series titled The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. The Creative Hearts Awakening book series features heart-centric creatives who share their awakening journey. Through the Power of Listening educational course platform, people can get certified as elevated listeners on USA Global TV and Radio. Learn how to center yourself and align with nature through the power of nature, plants, and shrines. The Journey of Chakra Psychology course will educate you on the chakras and their meaning. The Intuition of the Heart course will help you understand how to trust your intuition. Learn how to face the shadows of self and understand the impact of following trends and materialism. Set boundaries and ask for permission to help establish better relationships, deeper connections, and more authentic conversations. Take your communication expertise to a higher level with the course for curious humans. After all, we are not robots. Looking to start your own podcast platform? Get everything you need in the Podcaster Pro package with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. How can music, breath, and your voice set you free? Find out with the Power of Listening courses. Dr. Jacqueline is a certified meditation teacher, yoga instructor, and Juice Plus distributor. She will help you create a plan for your healthy lifestyle. As an expert in the art of interviewing with over 3,000 hosted and/or produced live broadcasts, Dr. Kerbeck helps her clients stand out as global broadcasters. Dr. Kerbeck's books are available on Amazon. Start your listening journey by reading. Tune into the Listening Mentor TV show, Fridays on USA Global TV, and learn how listening can be your superpower. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, MBA, DBA, Certified Holistic Life, Career, and Executive Coach, Certified Yoga Sculpt Teacher, Certified Meditation Teacher, The Listening Mentor, Singer-Songwriter, Founder, President, Chief Listening Officer of USA Global TV and Radio. drjacqueline.com. Thank you to all our elevated listeners, team members, animal characters, and co-authors. Contact us at 215-852-9406. Jacqueline at drjacqueline.com.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.